proceeding with it. Got it? Fine. First, we shall start with team bidding. Before that, data science, BCom, BCom PA, economics, and political science. Okay. Teams. So first in the team is KCLAS Super Kings, and before which you'll be having a purse amount of 85 crores. The base price for teams will be 2 crores, and so there are actually like 4 categories: 5 crores, 2 crores, 1 crores, and 0.5 crores. This is the base price of players. For teams, it will be 2 crores. Okay. So shall we bid for who and all is bidding for KCLAS Super Kings? Please raise your hands. BCom with the base price 2. BCom PA with 2.5. BCom PA with 2.5. This is my first call that the team is economics with 3. Economics is with 3. This is my first call that the team is with economics for 3 crores. This is my second call that the team is with economics for 3 crores. And the team is sold to economics for 3 crores. So can I have it in your table? Congrats. So congrats economics. Next is KCLAS Titans. So shall I have a bid for KCLAS Titans? Shall I have the bid for KCLAS Titans? BCom with 2 crores. BCom with 2 crores. This is my first call that the team is with BCom for base price. This is my second call that the team is with BCom for base price of 2 crores. BCom for 2 crores. Congrats, BCom. Next is KCLAS Royals. So shall I have a bid for KCLAS Royals? Economics, political science with bid of 2 crore. Political science with a bid of 2 crore. This is my first call that the team is with political science for 2 crore. This is my second call that the team is with political science for 2 crore. And the team is sold to political science for 2 crore. Congrats, political science. No, just keep it here so it will be visible. Great. Next is KCLAS Night Riders with data science and BCom PA remaining. Shall you have a bid for KCLAS Night Riders? Data science with the bid. This is my first call that the team is with data science for 2 crores. This is my second call that the team is with data science for 2 crores. And the team is sold to data science for 2 crores. Congrats, data science. Next, BCom PA, we have KCLAS Kings and KCLAS Super Giants, and then KCLAS Capitals, and then KCLAS Chargers. So first in the list is KCLAS Kings. Are you guys interested for KCLAS Kings? Are you guys interested for KCLAS Super Giants? Are you guys interested for KCLAS Capitals? And the last team is KCLAS Chargers. Are you guys interested? And the team is sold to BCom PA for 2 crores. KCLAS Chargers. Okay, guys. So with the teams taken, KCLAS Royals, Super Kings, Chargers, Titans, and Night Riders. This is how I'm going to call out you guys. Okay. And we'll be giving you a preparation time of 5 minutes where you can discuss. Like we'll be giving you the player list where you guys can discuss about your team matrices and how you're going to prepare for the auction. So a 5 minutes break or 5 minutes of preparation time. Guys, before proceeding, do you guys have any doubts? Any doubts? Yeah. Yes. There are 83 crores, you have to buy at least 11 players and 15 players. Got it? And while performing, if one of your player gets injured, suppose if you have taken 11 players and if one of your players gets injured, you'll be disqualified because you'll be having only 10 players, so you won't be able to proceed. So try to get at least 13 players, or you can use your maximum limit to till 15 players, okay? So hello guys, one more time. Royals, Super Kings, Chargers, Titans, and Knight Riders. So the first player is Raghuvandan Yes. Base price of 5 crore. Shall you have the bid? Chargers with the base price of 5 crores. Titans with 5.5. Titans with 5.5. This is my first call that the player is with Titans for 5.5. This is my second call that the player is with Titans for 5.5. 6, 6.5, 7. 7 with Royals. 7.5. 7.5 with Titans. 8 with Royals. 8 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Titans with 8.5. This is my first call that the player is with Titans for 8.5. This is my second call that the player is with Titans for 8.5. 9 with Royals. 9.5 with Titans. 9.5 with Titans. 10 with Royals. 10 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royals for 10. This is my second call. 10.5 with Titans. 10.5 with Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Titans for 10.5. This is my second call that the player is with Titan for 10.5. And the player is sold to Titans for 10.5. Next in the list is Nidarshan. Nidarshan. So, shall we have opening bid of 5 crores? This is my first call that the player is not yet bidded. 5.5. 5.5 with Chargers. This is my first call that the player is with Chargers for 5.5 crores. This is my 6 with Royals. 6 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royals for 6 crores. 6.5 with Titans. 6.5 with Titans. 6.5 with Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Titans for 6.5 crores. 7 with Chargers. 7 with Chargers. This is my first call that the player is with Chargers for 7 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Charger for 7 crores. And the player is sold to Charger for 7 crores. Next in the list is Manoj Kumar. Shall you have opening bid of 5 crore? Class Titans with base price of 5 crore. Class Titans. Super Kings with 5.5. Super Kings. 6, 6.5 with Titans. 6.5 with Titans. 6.5 with Titans. 7 with the Super Kings. 7 with Super Kings. This is my first call that the player is with Super Kings for 7 crores. 7.5 with Royals. 7.5 with Royals. 8 with Titans. 8 with Titans. 8 with Titans. 8.5 with Super Kings. 8.5 with Super Kings. 9 with Titans. 9 with Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Titans for 9 crores. This is my second call. 9.5 with Knight Riders. 9.5 with Knight Riders. Knight Riders opens the account with 9.5. This is my first call that the player is with Knight Riders for 9.5. This is my second call that the player is with 10 crores with Royals. 10 crores for Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royals. 10.5 with Knight Riders. 10.5 with Knight Riders. 10.5 with Knight Riders. This is my first call that the player is with Knight Riders for 10.5 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Knight Riders for 10.5 crores. 11 for Royals. 11 for Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 11 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Royal for 11 crores. 11.5 with Knight Riders. 11.5 with Knight Riders. This 12 with Royals. 12 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royals for 12 crores. This is my second call. 12.5 with Knight Riders. 12.5 with Knight Riders. 13 with Royals. 13.5 with Knight Riders, 14 with Royals, 14 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royals for 14 crores, 14.5 with Knight Riders, 15 with Royals, 15 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royals for 15 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Royal for 15 crores. And the player is sold to Royal for 15 crores. Next is Pradeep and CD of a base price of 5 crores. Shall we open the bid for 5 crores? Titans opens account with 5, Super Kings with 5.5. 6 with Titans, 6 with Titans, 6.5 with Super Kings, 7 with Titans, 7 with Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Titans for 7.5 crores, 7 crores. This is my second call that the player is the Titan for 7 crores, 7.5 with Super Kings, 8 with Titans, 8 with Titans, 8.5 with Super Kings, 8.5 with Super Kings, 9 with 9 with Knight Riders, 9 with Knight Riders, 9 with Knight Riders. This is my first call that the player is with Knight Riders for 9 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Knight Riders for 9 crores, 9.5 with Super Kings. This is my first call that the player 10 crores, 10 crores with Knight Riders, 10 crores with Knight Riders. My first call that the player is with Knight Riders for 10 crores. Second call that the player is with Knight Riders for 10 crores. And the player is sold to Knight Riders for 10 crores. Next is Pradeep Kumar of a base price of 5 crores. This is my first. This is my. The player is with the Super Kings for 5 crores. The player is with Super Kings for 5 crores. This is my first call that the player is with Super Kings for 5 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Super Kings for 5 crores. 5.5, 6 with Royals. 6 with Royals. 6.5 with Super Kings. 7 with Knight Riders. 7 with Knight Riders. 7 with Knight Riders. 7.5 with Royals. 7.5 with Royals. 8 with Knight Riders. 8 with Knight Riders. 8 with Knight Riders. This is my first call that the player is with Knight Riders for 8 crores. This is my second call that the with Kings. This is my first call that the player is with Super Kings for 9.5 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Super Kings. 10 with Royals. 10 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 10 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Royal for 10 crores. And the player is sold 10.5 with Super Kings. 10.5 with Super Kings. This is my first call that the player is with Super Kings for 10.5 crores. This is my second call. 11 with Royals. 11 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royals for 11 crores. My second call that the player is with Royal for 11 crores. And the player is sold to Royal for 11 crores. Next is Arshadiyam, Wasim Arshadiyam. Okay. Shall we have a base price of 2 crores? 2, 2.5 with Super Kings. 3, 3.5. 4, 4.5. 5, 5 with Titans. 5 with Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Titans for 5 crores. This is my second call that the player is with 5.5 with Super Kings. 6 with Titans. 6.5 with KKR. 6.5, 7 with Titans. 7 with Titans. 7 with Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Titan for 7 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Titans for 7 crores. And player is with Super Kings for 7.5. 8 with Titans. 8 with Titans. 8.5, 9, 9.5 with Super Kings, 10 with Titans, 10 with Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Titan for 10 crores, 10.5, 11 with Titans, 11 with Titans, 11 with Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Titans for 11 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Titan for 11 crores. And the player is sold to Titans for 11 crores. Next is Dev Anbu. Sri Sorry, next is Sri Harish. Shall you have a bid for 2 crores? No bids. This 2 crores, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 3.5 with Super Kings, 4 with KKR, 4.5, 5, 6.5 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 6.5, 7, sorry, 7 crores, 7 with KKR. This is my first call that the player is with 7.5 with Super Kings, 7.5 with Super Kings. This is my first call that the player is with Super Kings for 7.5 crores. My second call that the 8 with Chargers, 8 with Chargers, 8.5 with Super Kings, 8.5 with Super Kings, 8.5 with Super Kings, 9 with Chargers, 9 with Chargers. This is my first call that the player is with Charger for 9 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Charger, 9.5, 9.5 with KKR, 9.5 with KKR. This is my first call that the player is with KKR for 9.5 crores. My second call that the player is with. Next on the list is Dev Anbu. Shall we have an opening bid of 2 crores? Super Kings with 2 crores. Super Kings with 2 crores. My first call that the player is with Super Kings for 2 crores. My second call that the player is 2.5 with Chargers. 2.5 with Chargers. 3 with Super Kings. 3 with Super Kings. 3.5 with Chargers. 4 with Super Kings. 4 with 4.5 with Chargers. 5 with Super Kings. 5.5 with Chargers. 6 with Super Kings. 6.5 with Royals. 6.5 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is Royal. 7 with KKR. 7 with KKR. My first call that the player is with KKR for 7 crores. My second call that the player is with 7.5 with Super Kings. 7.5 with Super Kings. This is my first call that the player is with Super Kings for 7.5 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Super Kings for 7.5 crores. Chargers with 8 crores. Chargers with 8 crores. 8.5 with Super Kings. 8.5 with Super Kings. 8.5 with Super Kings. This is my first call that the player is with Super Kings for 8.5 crores. My second call that the player is with Super Kings for 9 with Chargers. 9 with Chargers. 9.5 with Super Kings. 9.5 with Super Kings. This is my first call that the player is with Super Kings for 9.5 crores. My second call that the player is with Super Kings for 9.5 crores. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 9.5 crores. Guys, before proceeding, I want you guys to lift the bat as high as possible, because if you lift like this, I'm not able to see. Next is Revant Kumar. Of a base price of 2 crores. Shall you have the opening bid? Titans with the opening bid of 2 crores. 2.5 with charges. 2.5 with charges. 3 with Titans. 3.5. 3.5 with charges. This is my first call that the player is with charges for 3.5 crores. 4. 4 with Titans. 4 with Titans. My first call that the player is with Titans for 4 crores. My second call that the player is with 4.5. 5. 5 with charges. 6. 5. 5.5. 6. 6 with Titans. 5. 5.5. 6. The player is with Titans for 6 crores. My 6.5 with charges. 6.5 with charges. My first call that the player is with charges for 6.5 crores. 7. 7. 7 with Titans. My first call that the player is with Titans for 7 crores. 7.5 with KKR. 8 with Titans. 8 with Titans. 8 with Titans. 8.5. 8.5. 8.5. My first call that the player is with KKR for 8.5. My second call that the player is with 9. 9 with charges. 9.5 with Royals. 9.5 with Royals. 9.5 with Royals. My first call that the player is with Royal for 9.5 crores. My second call that the player is with Royal for 9.5 crores. And the player is sold to Royal for 10. 10 with charges. 10 with charges. My first call that the player is with charges for 10 crores. My second call that the player is with charges for 10 crores. And the player is sold to charges 10.5 with Royals. 10.5 with Royals. My first call that the player is with Royal for 10.5 crores. My second call that the player is with Royal for 10.5 crores. And the player is sold to Royals for 10.5 crores. Next is Madi Pugarendi. Shall you have a base price of 2 crores? Titans with 2 crores. Of a base price of 2 crores. My first call that the players with 2.5 with Super Kings. 3 with Titans. 3 with Titans. 3.5. 4. 4. 4 with Titans. 4 with Titans. My first call that the player is with Titans for 4 crores. My second call that the player 4.5. 4.5 with charges. 5 with Titans. 5 with Titans. My first call that the player is with Titans for 5 crores. 5.5 with charges. 5.5 for charges. My first call, the player is with charges for 5.5 crores. My second call, the player is with charges for 5.5 crores. And the player is sold to charger for 5.5 crores. So next is Tani Sharon. Shall you have an opening bid of 2 crores? Super Kings with 2 crores? Super Kings with 2 crores. My first call that the player is with Super Kings for 2 crores. My second call that the player is with Super Kings for 2 crores. 2.5 with Royals. 2.5 with Royals. 3 with Super Kings, 3.5 with KKR. 3.5, 4 with Super Kings, 4 with Super Kings, 4 with Super Kings. My first call that the player is with Super Kings for 4 crores, 4.5 with KKR. 5 with Super Kings, 5 with Super Kings. My first call that the player is with Super Kings for 5 crores. My second call that the player 5.5 with Royals. 6 with Super Kings. 6 with Super Kings. My first call, the play 6.5 with Royals. It's KKR. 7 with Royals. 7 with Royals. 7.5 with Super Kings. 7.5 with Super Kings. My first call that the player is with Super Kings for 7.5 crores. My second call that the player is with Super Kings for 7.5 crores. 8 with KKR. 8 with KKR. My first call that the player is with KKR for 8 crores. My second call that the player is with KKR for 8 crores. 8.5 with Super Kings. 8.5 for Super Kings. First call that the player is with Super Kings for 8.5 crores. 9 with Royals. 9 with Royals. My first call, the player is with Royal for 9 crores. My second call, 9.5 with Super Kings. 9.5 with Super Kings. My first call, the player is with Super Kings for 9.5 crores. My second call, the player is with Super Kings for 9.5 crores. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 9. KKR with 10 crores. KKR with 10 crores. My first call, the player is with KKR for 10 crores. My second call, the player is with KKR for 10 crores. 11 with 10.5 with Super Kings. 10.5 with Super Kings. 10.5 with Super Kings. My first call, the player is with Super Kings for 10.5 crores. My second call, that the player is with Super Kings for 10.5 crores. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 10.5 crores. Next on the list is Rudresh. Shall I have opening bid of 2 crores? Titans with the base price of 2 crores. My first call, the player is with Titans for 2 crores. My second call, the player is with Titans for 2 crores. And the player is sold to KCLAS Royals with 2.5. Royals with 2.5. 3, 3.5. 4, 4.5. 4.5 with Royals. 5, 5 with Titans. 5 with Titans. My first call, the player is with Titan for 5 crores. My second call, the 5.5, 6. 6 with Royals. 6.5 with Titans. 6.5 with Titans. 6.5 with Titans. 6.5 with Titans. My first call, the player is with Titan for 6.5 crores. My second call, the player is with Titan for 6.5 crores. And the player is sold to Titans for 6.5 crores. Sorry about it, it's Narain P. So shall we have an opening bid of 2 crore? My first call, that the player is not yet bidded. My second call, that the player is not yet bidded. And the player is 2.5, 3. 3. I love the coordination, guys. 3.5. 3.5. 3.5. The player is with Super Kings for 3.5. My first call, that the player is with Super Kings for 3.5. My second call, the player is with Super Kings for 3.5. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 3.5 crores. Next is Rajendra Cholan. Shall I have opening bid of 2 crore? My first call, that the player is not yet being bidded. Charges with the base price of 2 crore. My first call, that the 2.5 with Titans. 2.5 with Titans. First call, that the player is with Titans for 2.5 crores. Second call, that the player is 3 with Royals. 3.5 with Chargers. 3.5 with Chargers. 4 with Titans. 4 with Titans. 4 with Titans. My first call, 4.5 with Royals. 4.5 with Royals. 4.5 with Royals. First call, that the player is with Royal for 4.5 crores. Second call, 5 with Titans. 5 with Titans. My first call, that the player is with Titans for 5 crores. My second call, that the player is with Titans for 5 crores. 5.5 with Chargers. 6 with Royals. 6 with Royals. My first call, that the player is with Royal for 6 crores. Second call, that the player is with Royal for 6 crores. 6.5 with charges. 6.5 with charges. My first call that the player is with charges for 6.5 crores. My second call that the player is with charges for 6.5 crores. 7 with royals. 7 with royals. My first call that the player is with royal for 7 crores. 7.5 with charges. 7.5 with charges. My first call that the player is with charger for 7.5 crores. My second call that the player is with charger for 7.5 crores. And the player is sold to charger for 7.5 crores. And a great battle between royals and chargers came to an end. Next is, Surinder. Shall you open the bid with 2 crores? Any team? My first call that the player is not yet being bidded. Second call that the player is not yet being bidded. Super King starts the account with 2 crores. 2 crores with Super Kings. First call, the player is with Super Kings for 2 crores. Second call, the player is with Super Kings for 2 crores. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 2 crores. Okay, guys, next on list is Rahan Chalapa. Okay, shall we start the bid for 2 crores? 2 with Titans. 2.5 with charges. 2.5 for charges. 3 with Titans. 3.5 with royals. 4. 4 with Titans. My first call that the player is with Titans for 4 crores. 4.5 with royals. 5 with Titans. 5.5 with royals. 6 with Titans. 6 with Titans. First call that the player is with Titans for 6 crores. 6.5 with royals. 6.5 with royals. My first call that the player is with royals for 6.5 crores. Second call that the player is charges comes into the battle with 7 crores. 7 crores with charges. Crores. Crores. 9 with Titans. 9 with Titans. Now the battle shifted between Titans and charges. 9 crores with Titans. 0.5 with charges. First call the player is with charges for 9.5 crores. Second call that the player is with charges for 9.5 call that the player is with charges for 9.5 crores. And the player is sold to charges for 9.5 crores. Shall we have a base price of 2 crores? 4 with charges. 4 with charges. 4 with charges. 4 with charges. 4.5 with royals. 5 with KKR. KKR enters into a battle with 5 crores. 5.5 with royals. 6 with KKR. 6 with KKR. 6.5 with royals. 6.5 with royals. My first call, the player is with royal for 6.5 crores. Second call, the player is with royal for 6.5 crores. And the player is sold to royal for 6.5 crores. Next on the list is Darun Prashant. Shall you have an opening bid of 2 crore? First call, the player is not yet being bidded. Second call, the player is not yet being bidded. Base with royals. First call, the player is with 2 crores for royals. Second call, the player is with royals. Second call, the player is with KKR for 9 crores. And 9.5 with charges. 9.5 with charges. 9.5. 10. 10 with KKR. 10 with KKR. My first call, the player is with KKR for 10 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 10 crores. And the player is 10.5 with charges. 10.5 with charges. My first call that the player is with charges for 10.5 crores. Second call that the player is with charges for 10.5 crores. And the player is sold to charges for 10.5 crores. Next on the list is Manoj. Shall we open the bid for 2 crores? Titans with 2 crores. 2 crores with Titans. My first call that the player is with Titan for 2 crores. 2.5 with Super Kings. 2.5 with Super Kings. 3 with Titans. 3 with the Titans. First call that the player is with Titan for 3 crores. Titans 3 crores. Second call that the player is with Titan for 3 crores. And the player is 3.5 with charges. 4 with Titans. 4 with Titans. First call that the player is with Titan for 4 crores. Second call that the player is with Titan for 4 crores. 4.5. 4.5. 5. 5 with Titans. 5 with Titans. My first call that the player is with Titan for 5 crores. Second call that the player is with Titan for 5 crores. And the player is sold to Titan for 5 crores. Guys, now we have auctioned about 20 players. We will have a short break about 5 minutes. Nilay will be sharing you your wallet and the number of players each team have.
Okay, guys, pay attention for the. Okay, so class Titans, the remaining wallet number is 50 crores, and the number of players are 4. Okay, class charges, the remaining balance is 38 crores, and the players are 6. Okay, KKR, the remaining balance is 63.5, and the number of players are 2. Okay. For class royals, the remaining wallet is 40 crores, and the players are 4. And for Super Kings, 56.5, and the players are 4. Thank you. 50 crores. Thank you, guys.
Guys, next 1 minute auction start agum. Super Kings unga team inga. It's okay, நாங்க proceed பண்றோம். Guys, start with the auction. First value வா? இல்லை நீ சொல்லியா? Come here.
Guys, purse value since players are 2 players. And class royals, 4 players and 40 crores. Class super kings, 56.5 and 4 players. Thank you.
Okay guys, so next player on the list is Visham. Shall we have the opening bid of 1 crore? Titans with 1 crore. Titans with 1 crore. 1.5. 2. 2. 2 with Titans. 2.5. Sorry. We'll rebid it. Sorry for it. So 1.25. 1.25. 1.5. 1.75. 2. 2.5. 2.5 with Titans. 2.5 with Titans. My first call that the player is with Titan for 2.5 crores. Second call that the player is with 3.5. 3.5 with charges. 3.5 with charges. 4. 4 with Titans. 4 with Titans. First call that the player is Titan for 4 crores. Second call that the player is with Titan for 4 crores. And the player is sold to Titans for 4 crores. Traders. First call that the player is with Night Riders for 1 crore. 1.25 with Titans. 1.5 with Night Riders, KKR. 1.5 with KKR. 1.5 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 1.5. Second call that the player is with KKR for 1.5. 1.75 with Royals. 1.75 with Royals. First call that the player is with Royal for 1.75 crores. Second call that the player is with Royal for 1.75 crores. And the player is sold to Royal for 2 with KKR. 2 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 2 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 2 crores. And 2.5 with Royals. 3 with KKR. 3 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 3 crores. Second call, the player is with KKR for 3 crores. 3.5 with Royals. 3.5 with Royals. 3.5 with Royals. First call that the player is with Royal for 3.5 crores. Second call that the player is with Royal for 3.5 crores. And the player is sold to Royal for 3.5 crores. Next player on the list is Darshan S. Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? First call that the player is not yet being bidded. Second call. And the player 1 crore with charges. 1 crore with charges. First call that the player is with charges for 1 crore. Second call that the player is with charger for 1 crore. And the player is sold to charger for 1 crore. Next on the list is Siddeshwar. Next on the list is Akash. Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? My first call that the player is not yet been bidded. Second call that the player is not yet been bidded. 1 with titans. 1 with titans. First call that the player is titan for 1 crore. 1.5 with royals. 1.5 with royals. First call that the player is with royal for 1.5 crore. 1.25 with royals. First call that the player is with royal for 1.25 crores. Second call that the player is with royal for 1.5 with KKR. 1.5 with KKR. 1.75. 2 with royals. 2 with royals. 2 with royals. First call that the player is with royal for 2 crores. Second call that the player is with royal for 2 crores. 2.5 with titans. 2.5 with titans. 2.5 with titans. And the first call that the player is with titans for 2.5 crores. Second call that the player is with titan for 2.5 crores. 3 with KKR. 3 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 3 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 3 crores. And the player is sold to KKR for 3 crores. Next on the list, not yet been picked by any team. My second call. And the player is 1.25, 1.5. 1.25, 1.5. 1.75. 2. 2.5. 2.5. 3 with titans. 3 with titans. 3.5. 3.5. 3.5 with titans. 3.5 with 3.5 with titans. 3.5 with titans. My first call that the player is a titan for 3.5 crores. My second call that the player is a titan for 3.5 crores. And the player is sold to 4 with charges. 4 with charges. First call that the player is with charges for 4 crores. Second call that the player is with charges for 4 crores. 4.5 with titans. 4.5 with titans. 4.5 with titans. First call that the player is with titan for 4.5 crores. Second call that the player is with titan for 4.5 crores. And the player is sold to titans for 4.5 crores. Next is Nikashian. Shall we open the bid for 1 crore? My first call that the player is not yet been bidded. Is with royal for 1 crore. Second call that the player is with royal for 1 crore. And the player is... shall you open the bid for 1 crore? My first call that the player is not yet been bidded. Second call that the player is not yet been bidded. 1 with royals. 1 with royals. 1.25 with super kings. 1.25 with super kings. 1.25 with super kings. First call that the player is with super kings for 1.25. 1.5 with royals. 1.5 with royals. 1.5 with royals. 1.5 with royals. First call that the player is with royals for 1.5 crores. Second call that the 1.75 with super kings. 1.75 with super kings. First call that the player is with super king for 1.75. 2 with royals. 2 with royals. 2 with royals. First call that the player is 2.5 with super kings. 2.5 with super kings. My first call that the player is with super kings for 2.5 crores. Second call that the player is with super kings for 2.5 crores. And the player is sold to super kings for 2.5 crores. Next in the list is Nitin. Shall we open the bid for 1 crore? No bids? My first call that the player is not yet been bidded. Charges with the opening bid of 1 crore. My first call that the player is with charges for 1 crore. My second call that the player is with charges for 1 crore. And the player is 1.25, 1.5. 1.5 with royals. First call that the player is with royal for 1.5 crores. Second call that the player is with royal for 1.75 with KKR. 1.75 with KKR. 1.75 with KKR. 2 with royals. 2 with royals. 2.5 with KKR. 2.5 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 2.5 crores. With royals for 2.5 crores. Second call that the player is with royal for 2.5 crores. 3 with KKR. 3 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 3 crores. 3.5 with royals. 3.5 with royals. First call that the 4 with KKR. 4 with KKR. 4 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 4 crores. 4.5 with royals. 4.5 with royals. First call that the player is with royal for 4.5 crores. Second call that the player is 5 with KKR. 5 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 5 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 5 crores. 5.5 with charges. 6 with KKR. 6 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 6 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 6 crores. And the player is sold to 6.5 with charges. 7 with KKR. The battle between royals and KKR shifted to KKR and charges now. 7 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 7 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 7 crores. And the player is sold to KK. 7.5 with charges. 7.5 with charges. 7.5 with charges. My first call that the player is with charges for 7.5 crores. Second call that the player is with charges for 7.5 crores. And the player is sold to my second call, the player is with KCLAS for 7.5 crores. And the player is sold to KKR for 7.5 crores. See, for charges for 7.5 crores. Next is Manishka Raj. Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? First call that the player is traded for 2 crores. 2.5 with royals. 2.5 with royals. 2.5 with royals. First call that the 3 with titans. 3 with titans. First call that the player is titan for 3 crores. Second call that the player is 3.5 with royals. 3.5 with royals. 3.5 with royals. First call that the player is with royal for 3.5 crores. 4 with KKR. 4 with KKR. 4 with KKR. First call 4.5 with titans. 4.5 with titans. First call that the player is with titans for 4.5 crores. Second call that the player is with titan for 4.5 crores. 5 with KKR. 5 with KKR. 5 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 5 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 5 crores. And the player is sold to KKR 5.5, 6 with Super Kings. 6 with Super Kings. 6.5 with KKR. 6.5 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 6.5 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 6.5 crores. And the player is sold to 7 with titans. 7 with titans. 7 with titans. First call that the player is a titan for 7 crores. Second call that the player is a titan for 7 crores. $7.5 with Night Riders. 7.5 with Night Riders. First call that the player is a Night Rider for 7.5 crores. Second call that the player is Night Rider for 7.5 crores. And the player is sold to KKR for 7.5 crores. Next is Kalishwaran B. Kalishwaran B. Shall we open the bid for 1 crore? My first call that the player is not yet been bidded. Second call that the player is not yet been bidded. 1.25. 1.25. 1.5. 1.5. 1.5 with Super Kings. My first call that the player is at Super King for 1.5. Second call that the player is at Super 1.75. 1.75. 1.75. The player is with Royals for 1.75 crores. My first call that the player is with Royal for 1.75. 2 with Super Kings. 2 with Super Kings. My first call that the player is with Super Kings for 2 crores. 2.5 with Royals. My first call that the player is with Royals for 2.5 crores. Second call that the player is with Royal for 2.5 crores. And the player is 3 with Super Kings. 3 with Super Kings. 3.5 with Titans. Titans enter into a battle with 3.5 crores. First call, 4 crores with Super Kings. 4 crores with Super Kings. First call that the player is with Super Kings for 4 crores. Second call that the player is with Super Kings for 4 crores. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 4 crores. Next is Sudarshan NS. Shall we open the bid for one? Next on the list is Vishwayam. Shall we open the bid for 1 crore? Any bids? First call that the player is not yet been bidded. Second call that the player is not yet been bidded. And the player is unsold. Well, next person face you can see it in live itself. Samir Rahman. Any bids for Samir Rahman? One, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, 2, 2.5, 2.5 with Titans. First call, the player is at Titans for 2.5 crores. Second call, the player is at 3 with Super Kings. 3 with Super Kings. 3 with Super Kings. First call that the player is with Super Kings for 3 crores. Second call, 3.5 with Titans. 3.5 with Titans. 3.5 with Titans. First call that the player is with Titans for 3.5 crores. Second call that the player is with Titans for 3.5 crores. 4 with Chargers. 4 with Chargers. First call that the player is with Chargers for 4 crores. Second call that the player is with Chargers for 4 crores. 4.5 with Super Kings. 4.5 with Super Kings. First call that the player is with Super Kings for 4.5 crores. Second call that the player is with Super Kings for 4.5 crores. And the player 5 with Chargers. I love the demand for the live auction guy. 5 crores with Samir. This is my first call that the player is with Chargers for 5 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Chargers for 5 crores. And the player is sold to Chargers for 5 crores. This is what we call livestock auction. Next is Arun Kumar. Arun. So, shall we open the bid for 1 crore? My first call that the player is not yet been bidded. My second call that the player is not yet been bidded. 1 with KKR. 1 with KKR. 1 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 1 crore. Second call, 1.25 with Titans. 1.25 with Titans. 1.25 with Titans. First call that the player is with Titans for 1.25 crores. Second call that the player is with Titans for 1.25 crores. And the player, 1.5 with Chargers. 1.5 with Chargers. First call that the player is with Charger for 1.5 crores. Second call that the player is with Charger 1.75. 1.75. KKR, do you need time? Two with KKR. Two with KKR. First call that the players with KKR for 2 crores. Second call that the player 2.5 with Super Kings. 2.5 with Super Kings. My first call that the players with Super Kings for 2.5 crores. Second call that the players with Super Kings for 2.5 crores. And the player 2.5, 3 with charges. 3 with charges. 3 with charges. First call that the players charger for 3 crores. Second call that the players with charger for 3 crores. And the player is sold to charger for 3 crores. Sorry. Next is Aditya CS. Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? One with Titans. First call that the player is a Titan for 1 crore. Second call. Guys, before auctioning is left arm orthodox. Here it's mentioned as off break. So kindly look into it. You find with the bidding. The player is with Titans for 1 crore. 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 3.5 with KKR. My first call that the player is with KKR for 3.5 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 4 with Titans. 4 with Titans. 4.5 with KKR. 4.5 with KKR. 5 with Titans. 5 with Titans. 5 with Titans. First call that the player is with 5.5 with KKR. 5.5 with KKR. My first call that the player is with KKR for 5.5 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 5.5 crores. And the player is sold to KKR. Titans with 6. 6.5 with KKR. 6.5 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 6.5 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 6.5 crores. And the player is sold to 7 with Titans. 7 with Titans. 7 with Titans. My first call that the player is with Titans for 7 crores. Second call that the player is with Titans for 7 crores. And the player is sold 7.5 with KKR. 7.5 with KKR. Not going to lie, we love the battle between Titans and KKR. 7.5 with KKR. Titans want to join the fight again? First call that the player is with KKR for 7.5 crores. Second call that the player is with Titans for 7.5 crores. And the player is sold to KKR for 7.5 crores. Next in the list is Kanish KCLAS. Shall we open the bid for 1 crore? My first call that the player is not yet being sold. Second call. Any bids? Any bids? And the player is unsold. Next in the list is Varun Kumar. Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? My first call. My second call. Any bids? KCLAS charges with 1 crore. KCLAS charges with 1 crore. My first call. Second call. 1.25 with Super Kings. 1.5 with Super Kings. 1.25 with Super Kings. My first call. 1.5 with Titans. 1.5 with Titans. The place with Titans for 1.5 crores. 1.75. 2 with Titans. 2 with Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Titan for 2 crores. The second call that the player is with Titan for 2 crores. And the player is sold to 2.5 with charges. 2.5 with charges. 3 with Titans. 3 with Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Titan for 3 crores. My second call that the player is with Titan for 3 crores. And the player is sold to 3.5. Charges love to bid that neck of the moment, right? 3.5 crores. This is my first call that the player is with charges for 3.5 crores. My second call that the player is with charges for 3.5 crores. and the player is sold to charges for 3.5 crores. Next in the player is Arjun. Suthirit Arjun. So, shall we open the bid for 1 crore? Any bids? One with royals. One with royals. My first call that the player is with royal for 1 crores. My second call that the player is with royal for 1 crores. And the player is sold 1.25, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. The player is with Super Kings for 1.5. My first call that the 1.75 with the KKR, 1.75 with KKR. My first call that the player is with KKR for 1.75. Second call the player is with KKR for 1.75. And the player is sold to KKR for 1.75 crores. Next in the list is Prashant SP. Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? No biddings. One with royals. One with royals. My first call that the player is with royal for 1 crore. Second call that the player is with royal for 1 crore. And the player is sold to royal for 1 crore. Next in the list is Vishal AS. Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? Any bidding? One with KKR. One with KKR. Surprisingly, no fight from Titans and Chargers this time. This is my first call that the player is with KKR for 1 crore. Second call that the KKR player is with KKR for 1 crore. And the player is sold to KKR for 1 crore. Next is Kaushik Raj. Shall we open the bid for 1 crore? This is my first call. My second call, any bids? And the player is one with charges. One with charges. My first call that the player is charger for 1 crore. My second call that the player is with charger for 1 crore. And the player is sold to charger for 1 crore. Next in the list is Mani Maran. Shall we open the bid for 1 crore? My first call that the player is not yet been bidded. Second call that the player is not yet been bidded. One with royals. My first call that the player is with royal for 1 crore. My second call that the player is with royal 1.25 with Titans. 1.25 with Titans. First call that the player is with Titan for 1.25. Second call that the player is with Titan for 1.25. And the player is sold to Titan for 1.5 from Super Kings. 1.5 from Super Kings. First call that the player is from Super Kings for 1.25. My second call that the player 1.75. 1.75. The player is with Titan for 1.75 crores. This is my first call. 2 with Super Kings. 2 with Super Kings. 2 with Super Kings. 2 with Super Kings. My first call that the player is with Super King for 2 crores. Second call that the player is with Super King for 2 crores. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 2 crores. Next in the list is Hari Krishnan. Shall we open the bid for 1 crore? Any bids for 1 crore? Or want a bid during the third call? This is my first call. This is my second call. And the player is Unsold. Next in the list is Shakti Whale. Any bids? This is my first call. This is my second call. And the player is? And the player is Unsold. Next in the list is Anthony Raj. Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? No bids. My first call. One with KKR. My first call that the player is with KKR for 1 crore. My second call that the player is with KKR for 1 crore. And the player is sold to KKR for the base price of 1.5. See, 1.25 with Super Kings. 1.25 with Super Kings. First call that the player is with Super Kings for 1.25. Second call that the player is with Super Kings for 1.25. 1.5 with Class Titans. 1.5 with Class Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Class Titans for 1.5. Second call that the player is with Class Titans for 1.5. And the player is sold to Class Titans for 1.5 crores. Next in the list is Akshay Nagul. Shall I open the bid for 1 crore? This is my first call. This is my second call. And the player is Unsold. Next is Jahan JK. Shall I open the bid for? Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? This is my first call. This is my second call. And the player is Unsold. Next is a person with my name, Sanjay Mohan Raj. So, shall you open the bid for 1 crore? This is my first call. This is my second call. Class Titans for Sanjay of 1 crore. This is my first call that the players with Class Titans for 1 crore. My second call, 1.25 with Royals. 1.25 with Royals. First call that the players with Royal for 1.25. Second call that the players with Royal for 1.25. 1.5 with Titans. 1.5 with Titans. By the way, guys, there's a small change. It's a left arm off break. So just to change that. So the players with the Titans for 1.5 crores. You guys still want to bid for him? Yeah, okay. This is my first call. The players with Titans for 1.5 crores. 1.75. 2 with Titans. This is my first call. The players with Titans. It's my second call that the players with Titans. And the player is sold to Titans for 2 crores. Next in the list is Dharanian. Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? This is my first call. This is my second call. And the player is Unsold. Next in the list is Sandeep. So the base price is 0.5 lakh. Anyone want to join the bidding for 0.5 lakh? This is my first call. This is my second call. And the player is Unsold. Next is Rohit Ishwar. Shall we open the bid for 0.5 lakh? It's my first call. Class with base price of 0.5 lakh. This is my first call. The players with Class Titans. Second call. The players with Titans. and the player is sold to Titans for 0.5 lakh. Next in the list is Thamari Kannan. Shall you open the bid for 0.5 lakh? This is my first call. This is my second call. And the player is Unsold. Next in the list is Kannan. Shall you open the bid for 0.5 lakh? This is my first call. This is my second call. And the player is yes, after this player, we'll have another short break. So this is my second call. And the player is Unsold. Okay, before stopping, we'll have Nilay who will be sharing the purse amount and number of players you can have. Take care.
Okay, guys. So starting with Class Titans, we have 37.25 balance and 9 players. Is it match? 37.5. You got Rohit Ishwar for 0.5. Sanjay Mohan Raj for 2. Anthony Raj for 1.75. 1.5. Yes, can I make 1.5. Okay, done. So balance is 37.5 and 9 players. Okay. Next we have class charges, 12 players and 17 balance. Done. Class Night Riders, 7 players and 42.75 balance. 42.75. Class Royals is 7 players and 34.5 balance. 34.5. Class Super Kings, 7 players and 48 balance. Done. Thank you.
So hello everyone, guys. Let's start with the auction again. Next player on the list is Rishwan GL. Shall we open the bid for 0.5 lakhs? Sorry, 0.5 crores. It's my first call. It's my second call. And the player is Unsold. Next player in the list is Varadarajan. Shall you have the bid for 0.5 crores, 50 lakhs? This is my first call, my second call, and the player is Unsold. Next is Hari Prakash. Shall you open the bid for 0.5 crores? This is my first call, my second call, and the player is Unsold. Next in the list is Balasurya for 0.5 crores. Any bid? This is my first call, my second call, 0.5, 0.75, 0.75. This is my first call. One with Royals, 1.25, 1.25 with KKR. 1.25 with KKR. This is my first call that the player is with KKR for 1.25 crores. My second call, 1.5 with Royals, 1.75 with KKR. 1.75 with KKR, 2 with Royals, 2 with Royals, 2 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 2 crores. 2.5 with KKR, 3 with Royals, 3 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 3 crores. This is my second call that the player is with Royal for 3 crores. And the player this is my second call that the player is with Royal for 3 crores. And the player is sold to Royal for 3 crore. Next in the list is Gangadharan. Shall we open the bid for 0.5 crore? My first call, my second call, any bids? And the player is 0.5 with Royals. My first call that the player is with, and the player is sold to Royal for 0.5 crores. Next is Akshat Shankar. Shall you open the bid for 0.5 crore? My first call, any bids? My second call, and the player is Unsold. Next in the list is Nadine. Any bids? This is my first call. Titans with 0.5. It's my first call that the player is with Titans for 0.5. My second call that the player is with Titans for 0.5. And the player is sold to Titans for 0.5 crores. Next in the list is Jayant. Shall we open the bid for 0.5 crore? My first call, my second call, and the player is Unsold. Next in the list is Adi Session. Any bids? My first call, my second call, and the player is 0.5 with Royals. 0.5 with Royals. My first call that the player is with Royal for 0.5 crores. My second call that the player is with Royal for 0.75 with KKR. 0.75 with KKR. One with Royals. One with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 1 crore. This is my second call that the player is with Royal for 1 crore. And This is my second call that the player is with Royal for 1 crore. And the player is sold to Royal for 1 crore. But the KKR, try to like think as soon as possible because you can't take 1 minute. Try within 30 seconds. Next is Vashit. Any bits? My first call, my second call, and the player is Unsold. Next in the list is Shaktivel. Any bits? My first call, my second call, and the player is Unsold. And next in the list is Rahul Kant. Any bits? Royals. Royals with 0.5 crore. This is my first call that the player is with Royals. This is my second call that the player is with Royal for 0.5 crores. And the player is sold to Royals for 0.5 crores. So guys, next about 9 players. They have not participated in this previous game of KPL, but they have been in the part of our college cricket team. So we won't be having their current stats, but we might have their past stats. So look accordingly and bid it, okay? So next in the list is Bhavyansh Jain. So any bids for 0.5 crore? 0.5 crore with KKR. First call 0.75 with Royals. 0.75 with Royals. 1 with KKR. 1 with KKR. My first call that the players with KKR for 1 crore. Second call that the players with KKR for 1 crore. And the player is sold to KKR for 1 crore. Next in the list is Manoj KS. Shall we open the bid for 0.5 crore? 0.5 with Royals. 0.5 with Royals. 0.75 with Super Kings. 0.5 with Super Kings. This is my first call that the players with Super Kings for 0.5. 1 with Royals. 1 with Royals. 1.25 with KKR. 1.25 with KKR. This 1.5 with Royals. 1.5 with Royals. 1.5 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 1.5 crores. Second call that the player is with Royal for 1.5 crores. And the player is sold to Royal for 1.5 crores. Next in the list is Kishore Kumar. Next in the list is Kishore Kumar. Shall we start the bidding for 0.5 crore? This is my first call. My second call. And the player is Unsold. Next in the list is Sri Nikhil. Shall you open the bid? Any bids? This is my first call. Super Kings with 0.5. 0.25 with Royals. 0.25 with Royals. 0.25 with royals. It's my first 0.25 with royals. 0.75, 1, 1.25. 1.5, 1.75. 2, 2.5. 2.5 with royals. This is my first call that the player is with royal for 2.5 crores. This is my second call that the player is with 3 with KKR. 3 with KKR. So my first call that the player is with KKR for 3 crores. So my second call that the player is with KKR for 3 crores. And the player is sold 3.5 with 4 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 4 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR. 4.5 with royals. 5 with KKR. 5.5. 5.5. My first call that the player is with 6 with KKR. 6 with KKR. 6.5. 6.5. 7 with KKR. 7 with KKR. 7 with KKR. My first call that the player is with KKR. 7.5 with royals. 8 with KKR. 8 with KKR. 8.5 with royals. It's a good fight between royals and KKR. 9 with KKR. 9 with KKR. It's my first call that the player is with KKR for 9 crores. My second call that the player is with KKR for 9 crores. And the player is sold to KKR for 9 crores. Next is the person who is presenting all this to us. Next slide. It's Vidur. If the face is not clear, you can see him there. So, shall I open the bid? 0.5 with titans. 0.75. 0.75. 0.75. 1. 1.5. 1.5. 1.25. 1.25 with. Once again. 1.5 with titans. 1.5 with titans. 1.75. 1.75. 2. 2.5. 2.5. 2.5. My first call that the player is with royal for 2.5. Second call that the player is with royal for 2.5. And the player is sold to royal for 2.5. 3. 3.5. First call that the player is with royal for 3.5 crores. Second call that the player is with titan for 3.5 crores. Four with titans. 4 with titans. First call that the player is with titan for 4 crores. Second call that the player is with titan for 4 crores. 4.5 with royals. 4.5 with royals. First call that the player is with royal for 4.5 crores. Second call that the player is with royal for 4.5 crores. And the player is sold to royal for 4.5. 5. 5. This is my first call that the player is with titan for 5 crores. This is my second call that the player is with titan for 5 crores. 5.5. 5.5. My first call that the player is with royal for 5.5 crores. My second call that the player is with royal for 5.5 crores. And the player is sold to royal for 5.5 crores. Next in the list is Sitaranjan. Sitaranjan. So shall we open the bid for 0.5 crore? Royals with 0.5. Super Kings with 0.75. Super Kings with 0.75. KKR with 1, 1.25. 1.5, 1.5. 1.5 with royals. 1.5 with royals. My first call that the player is with royal for 1.5. My second call that the 1.75 with Super Kings. 1.75 with Super Kings. 2 with the KKR. 2.5 with royals. 2.5 with royals. My first call that the player 3 with Super Kings. 3 with Super Kings. 3 with Super Kings. My first call that the player is with Super Kings for 3 crores. Second call that the player is with Super Kings for 3 crores. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 3 crores. Next in the list is Guhenvale. Shall you open the bid for 0.5 crore? 0.5 with Titans. 0.75. 1. 1.25. 1.5. 1.75. 2. 2.5. 3. 3.5. 4. 4. 4 with Titans. This is my first call that the players with Titans for 4 crores. Second call, 4.5 with Chargers, 5 with Super Kings. 5.5 with Titans, 5.5 with Titans. First call that the players with Titans for 5.5 crores. 6, 6.5. 7, 7.5. 8, 8.15. Titans with 8.15. 9 with Royals. 9 with Royals. First call that the players with 9.5, 10, 10.5. Titans with 10.5. 11, 11 with the Royals. 11 with Royals. 11.5 with Titans. 12 with Royals. 12.5. 13. 13 with 13.5 with Super Kings. 13.5 with Super Kings. 14. 14 with Royals. 14.5 with Super Kings. 14.5 with Super Kings. This is my first call. 15 with Royals. 15.5 with Super Kings. 15.5 with Super Kings. 16, 16.5. 17. 17, 17.5. 18. 18, 18.5. 19. 19 with Super Kings. 19 with Super Kings. 19.5. 20. This is the highest bid so far. 20. 20.5. 21. Oh, before that, anyone want to go directly bid for 25 crores? All right. So 21 with Super Kings. 20, 25. 25 with Titans. Directly bid to Titans for 25 crores. 25.5. 25.5 with Super Kings. 26 with Titans. 26 with Titans. Wow. My first call that the players with Titan for 26. Second call, 26.5. 26.5. Even in history of IPL, I didn't think so. Like this much have a player have been gone. 20. Yeah. 27. 27.5. 28. 28.5. I think 28 is the highest price in IPL, I guess. Might not be cross it to 35. So 28.5 with CSK, I mean Super Kings. 28.5. 29. 29. 29.5. 29.5. Titans, 30 crores. 30. 30. 30 with Titans. This is almost half their purse amount. This is my first call that the players with Titan for 30 crores. Second call that the 30.5 with Super Kings. Wow. 30.5 with Super Kings. First call that the players with Super Kings for 30.5 crores. Second call, 31. 31. 31. Yeah. $31.5 Super Kings. 31.5 to Super Kings. This is my first call that the players with Super Kings for 31.5 crores. Second call, the players with Super Kings for 31.5 crores. 32. Nice. Titans with 32 crores. 32 crores. How much about CSK? 30. Okay, 32. 32.5. 32.5. My first call that the players with Super Kings for 32.5. Second call that the players with Super Kings for 32.5. 33. First call at the 33.5. Whoa. I'm amazed. The players in Super Kings for 33.5. 34. First call at the players with Titans for 34. Second call at the players with Titans for 34. 34.5. 34.5. Wow. First call that the players with Super Kings for 34.5. Second calls that the 35. 35.5. Okay. For 35.5 crores. Any bids for 40 crores. Or 50 crores. This is my first call at the place at Super Kicks for 36. One second. 36 crores. This is my first call at the player 36.5. Wow. Titans want to spend your whole purse. Any Guggen's friend can share this to him. Okay. After a very good round, next person is Deepak. Any bid for Deepak? For 0.5 crores. My first call, my second call, and the player is Unsold. Next is Kevin Samuel for 0.5 crores. Titans with 0.5. My first call, 0.75 with Royals. 0.75 with Royals. 1 with Titans. 1.25. Lift it, okay. 1.5. 1.75, 2. 2 with Royals. 2 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 2 crores. Second call that the player is with Royal for 2 crores. 2.5, 3. 3.5, 4. 4.5, 4, 5. 5. 5.5. 5.5 with Titans. 6. 6. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 6 crores. Second call, the player is with Royal for 6 crores. 6.5. 7. 7 with Titans. 7.5 with Knight Riders. 7.5 with Knight Riders. 8 with Titans. 8.5. 9. 9.5. 10. 10.5. 11. 11.5. 12. 12.5. No, bid for 15. 15. 15.5. 15.5. 16. 16 with Titans. 16.5. 16.5. First call that the players with KKR for 16.5 crores. Second call that the players KKR for 16.5 crores. And the player is 17. 17 with Titans. First. .5 with KKR. 17.5 with KKR. First call, the player is with KKR for 17. 18 with Titans. 18.5. 18.5. 19. Nice. 19. 19.5. Titans want a bid for 20. 19.5. 20. 20. This is my first call that the player is with Titans for 20 crores. Second call that the player is with Titans for 20 crores. And the player is sold to Titans for 20.5. But before going, you guys want to directly bid for 25 crores? No, it's 25 or no? Or if you want to lift, it's 21. It's 20.5 now. So if you lift now, it's 21. 21. 21. First call that the player is with Titans for 21. Second call that the player is with Titans for 21. And the player is sold to Titans for 21. Next is sir, let's count, please. Guys, next 3 members are faculties. You can see like they represented district and state level. So accordingly, we will start the bidding, okay? First in the list is Binesh. Binesh sir, sorry. 1 crore. Any bids? 1. 1. First call that the player is with 1.25. 2 with Super Kings. 2 with Super Kings. 2.5. 3. 3 with Royals. 3 with Royals. 3. 3.5. 3.5. 3.5 with KKR. 3.5 with KKR. 4 with Chargers. 4 with Chargers. This is my first call that the player is with Chargers for 4. 4.5. 5. 5.5. 6. 6.5. 6.5 with KKR. 7 with Chargers. 7.5. My first call that the player is with KKR for 7.5. Second call that the player is with KKR for 7.5. 8 with Chargers. 8.5 with KKR. 8.5 with KKR. 9 with Chargers. My first call that the player is with Chargers for 9.5 crores. Right? 9 crores. Second call that the player is with Chargers. Right? The second call that the player is with Chargers for 9 crores. 9.5 with KKR. 9.5 with KKR. 9.5 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 9.5. 10 with Chargers. 10.5 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 10.5. Second call that the player is with KKR for 10.5. And the player is sold to KKR for 11 crores. Before going, you guys want to directly bid for 15 crores? Want to directly bid for 15 crores? Or want to go from 11 itself? My first call that the player is with Chargers for 11 crores. Second call that the player is with Chargers 11.5. 11.5 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 11.5. Second call that the player is with KKR for 11.5. 12 with Chargers. 12 with Chargers. My first call that the player is with Chargers 12.5. 12.5. 13. 13.5. 13.5. My first call that the player is with KKR for 13.5. 14. 14.5. 14.5 with KKR. 15. 15.5. 15.5. My first call that the player is with KKR for 15.5. 16. 16.5. 16.5 from KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 16.5. Second call that the player is with KKR for 16.5. And the player is sold to KKR for 16.5 crores. Next is Goku Priyan, sir. Shall you open the bid for 1 crore? State level player, so shall you open the bid for 1 crore? 1 with Royals. First call that the player is with Royal for 1 crore. Second call that the player is with Royal for 1 crore. 1.5 with Chargers. 2, 2.5. 3, 3.5. 3.5 with KKR. 4 with Chargers. My first call that the player is with Chargers for 4 crores. 4.5 with KKR. 4.5 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 4.5 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 4.5 crores. And the player is sold to KKR for 4.5. 5.5. 5.5 with KKR. First call that 6 with 6, 7. 6.5, 7. 7.5. 8. 8 with Royals. 8 with Royals. It's my first call that the player is with Royal for 8 crores. Royals 8 crores. Second call that the player is with Royal for 8 crores. 8.5 with Knight Riders. 9. 9 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 9 crores. 9.5 with KKR. 10 with Royals. 10 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 10 crores. Second call that the player is with Royal for 10 crores. 10.5. 10.5. 10.5. 10.5 with KKR. This is my first call that the player is with KKR for 10.5. Second call that the player is with KKR for 10.5. 11 with Royals. This is my first call that the player is with Royal for 11 crores. Second call that the player is with Royal for 11 crores. And This is my second call that the player is with royal for 11 crores. And the player is sold to royal for 11 crores. Next is Rex Sairaj. Sir. Next slide. 1 crore. Charges with 1 crore. First call the player is with charger for 1 crore. Second call that the player is with charger for 1 crore. And the player is sold to 1.25 with Super Kings. 1.25 with Super Kings. 1.25 with Super Kings. This is my first call that the player is with Super Kings for 1.25. Second call that the player is with Super Kings for 1.25. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 1.25 crores. Okay, guys. Before the list is over, just tell how many members they have taken. No, I want to decide the unsold players.
Guys, okay. So, guys, attention, please. Titans have 11 players, 16 balance. Okay. Chargers have 12 players, 17 balance. Knight Riders have 10 players and 16.25 balance. Okay. 16.25. Correct. 16.25. Okay. Then we have Class Royals, 13 players, 13 balance. Huh? 14 players.
Who's the last player?
See Gokul Priyan, Vidur, Rahul Nath, Manoj KS. Manoj KS. எங்கேயுமே இல்லை. ஓகே ஸ்டார்டிங்ல சொல்லிட்டா மனோஜ், பிரதீப் குமார், ரேவந்த், மனோஜ் குமார், மனோஜ் குமார், பிரதீப் குமார், ரேவந்த் குமார், எலன்சி குமரன், அபிலாஷ், நிகாஷ், பிரசாந்த், பாலசூர்யா, ககந்தரன், ஆதிசேஷன், ராகுல் காந்த், விதுர், கோகுல் பிரியன். மனோஜ் இன்னொருத்தர் இருக்கானா? ஓ சூப்பர் கிங்ஸில் போட்டேன். ஒன் செகண்ட் சேஞ்ச் பண்ணிடுறேன் ஒரு நிமிஷம். ஓகே ஸோ 11.5 இஸ் எ பேலன்ஸ். கரெக்ட்? 11.5. சூப்பர். Okay, Super Kings, 10 players. Super King, 10 players. Balance is 7.25. Done. Thank you.
Guys, for the unsold list, how do you guys want to proceed? Do you guys want to give me a set of 2 players and shall you proceed, or you want me to like go through the list, hold the list again and bid for it? Whole list again? Fine. How many players do you have? 10. Fine then. Anyone? Fine with it, right? So we'll be having a 5 minutes break and then we'll start again. So kindly be on time. Hello. So hello everyone, now we'll be coming to the unsold players list where the base price will be 0.25 crores. From 0.25 crores we'll be bidding each and every player. We'll be going in a random wise, okay? Yeah, we'll be telling the purse amount and the number of players you have, so you guys can cross check one more time.
Okay, guys. KCLAS. Said okay. Starting with class titans, 16 is the balance, 11 players. Okay. Class charges, 12 players, 17 balance. KKR, 10 players, 16.25 balance. Okay. Class royals, 14 players and 11.5 balance. Class super kings, 10 players and 7.25 balance. Thank you.
So guys, so first in the list is Siddheshwar. Okay, nalla sagudam. Solunga. Any bids for Siddheshwar? 0.25 with Super Kings. 0.5 with Knight Riders. 0.5 with Knight Riders. 0.75 with Royals. 0.75 with Royals. 1 with Super Kings. 1 with Super Kings. 1.25. 1.5 with KKR. 1.5 with KKR. 1.75. 2 with KKR. 2 with KKR. This is my first call that the player is with KKR for 2 crores. My second call that the player is with KKR for 2 crores. 2.5, 3, 3.5. 4, 3.5, 4, 4.5. 5. 5 with KKR. First call 5.5. 5.5. 6. First call that the player is with KKR for 6 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 6 crores. 6.5. 6, 7. 7 with KKR. 7 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 7 crores. 7.5. 7.5 with charges. 8 with KKR. 8.5 with charges. 8.5 with charges. First call that the player is with charges for 8.5 crores. 9 with KKR. 9 with KKR. 9 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 9.5 with charges. 10. 10 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 10 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 10.5 for charges. 10.5 for charges. First call that the player is with charges for 10.5 crores. Second call that the player is with charges for 10.5 crores. And the player is sold to charges for 10.5 crores. Next in the list is Sudarshan. Guys, give us a minute. We'll be fetching the slide. So, shall I have bid for 0.25 crore? Titans with 0.25. First call that the players with Titans for 0.25. 5 with KKR. 7.5. 1. 1 with Royals. 1. 1.25. 1.5. 1.5. 1.75. 2. 2 with Royals. 2.5. 2.5. 3. 3.5 with Chargers. 3.5 with 4 with the KKR. 4 with KKR. 4 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 4 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 4 crores. 4.5 with Titans. 5 with KKR. 5.5 with Titans. First call that the player is with Titan for 5.5 crores. Second call the player is with Titan for 5.5 crores. 6 with Royals. 6 with Royals. First call that the player is with Royal for 6 crores. Second call that the player is with Royal for 6 crores. And the player is sold to 6.5 with Titans. 6.5 for Titans. First call that the player is with Titan for 6.5 crores. Second call that the player is with Titan for 6.5 crores. and the player is sold to Titans for 6.5 crores. Next is Vishwa M. Super. Next is Vishwa M. Shall we open the bid for 0.25 crore? My first call, second call, and the player 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, 1.5, 1.5 with KKR. 1.25, sorry. 1.25, 1.5 with Royals, 1.5 with Royals, 1.75 with KKR, 2 with Royals, 2 with Royals, 2 with Royals, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 3.5 with 4 with Royals, 4.5 with KKR, 4.5 with KKR. First call that the player is with KKR for 4.5 crores. Second call that the player is with KKR for 4.5 crores. And the player is sold to KKR for 4.5 crores. And before which, I want to stress on one point. Outsiders kindly don't give any inputs to the participants. Hope you'll understand. Next is Kanish case. Good. Shall I open the bid for 0.25 crore? KKR with 0.25, 5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.75, 0.75 with KKR. First call that the player is with the KKR for 0.75. Second call that the player is with KKR for 0.75. 1 with charges. 1 with charges. This is the first call that the player is with charges for 1 crore. Second call that the player is with charges for 1 crore. And the player is sold to charger for 1.25. 1.25 for Titans. 1.25 for Titans. This is my first call that the player is with Titans for 1.25. Second call that the player is with Titans for 1.25. And the player is sold to Titans for 1.25 crores. Next in the list is Hari Krishnan ji. Good. Shall you open the bid for 0.25? 0.25 for Royals. 0.25 for Royals. First call that the player is with Royals for 0.5, 0.5, 0.75, 1. 1 with 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 3.5 with Royals. 3.5 with Royals. First call that the player is with Royal for 4 with KKR. 4 with KKR. 4.5 with Royals. 5 with KKR. 5.5. 5.5 with Royals. First call that the players with Royal for 5.5 crores. Second call 6. 6 with KKR. 6 with KKR. 6.5. 6.5 with Royals. 6.5 with Royals. 7 with KKR. 7 with KKR. First call that the players with KKR for 7 crores. Second call that the player 7.5 with Royals. 7.5 with Royals. First call that the players with Royal for 7.5 crores. Second call that the player 8 with KKR. 8 crore with KKR. First call that the players with KKR for 8 crores. Second call that the players with KKR for 8 crores. And the player is sold to KKR for 8 crores. Shaktivel. Shaktivel. Okay, again a base price of 0.25 crore. Any teams willing to bid? This is my first call. CSK opens the account with 0.25. It's my first call that the players with Super Kings. Second call that the players with Super Kings. 0.5 with the charges. 0.5 with charges. 0.75 with the Super Kings. First call the players with Super Kings for 0.75. Second call the players with the Super Kings for 0.75. 1 with charges. 1 with charges. 1 with charges, 1.25 with Super Kings. 1.25 with Super Kings. This is my first call that the players with Super Kings for 1.25. 1.5 with charges. 1.5 with charges. First call that the players with charges for 1.5. Second call that the player is with charges for 1.5. 1.75 for Super Kings. 1.75 for Super Kings. 2 with charges. 2 with charges. First call, the players with charges for 2 crores. 2.5 with Super Kings. First call, the players with Super Kings for 2.5. Second call, the players with Super Kings for 2.5 crores. 3, 3.5. 3 with Titans and 3.5 with charges. So the player is now with charges for 3.5 crores. First call, the players with charges for 3.5 crores. Second call, the player is with charges for 3.5 crores. And the player is sold to charges for 3.5 crores. Next in the list is Akshay Nagul. Good. Any bids for 0.25 crores? Super Kings for 0.25, 5, 0.5, 0.75 for Super Kings. 0.75 for Super Kings. This is my first call. The players with 1 with Royals. 1 with Royals. 1 with Royals. First call, the players with Royal for 1.25 for Super Kings. 1.5, 1.5. 1.5 with Royals. First call, the players with Royal for 1.5 crores. Second call, 1.75 with Super Kings. This is my first call, the players with Super Kings for 1.75 crores. Second call, the players with Super Kings 2 with Titans. 2 with Titans. First call, the player is with Titan for 2 crores. Second call, the player is with Titan for 2 crores. And the player is sold to Titans for 2 crores. Next in the list is Jagan. Shall we have opening bid of 0.25 crore? Super Kings is 0.25 crore. This is my first call. The players with Super Kings for 0.25. Second call, 0.5. 0.75. First call, the players with Super Kings. 1 with Knight Riders, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, 2, 2.5. 2.5 with Super Kings. This is my first call. The players with Super Kings for 2.5. Second call, 3. 3 with KKR. First call, the players with KKR for 3 crores. 3.5 with Super Kings. First call, the players with Super Kings. First call, the players with Super Kings for 3.5 crores. Second call, the players with Super Kings 4. 4 with Titans. 4 with Titans. First 4.5 with Royals. 4.5 with Royals. First call, the player is with Royal for 4.5 crores. Second call, the player is with Royal for 4.5 crores. And the player is sold to Royal for 4.5 crores. Next is Darnian. Darnian. 0.25. Any bids? This is my first call. My second call, 0.25 with Super Kings. This is my first call, the players with Super Kings. Second call, the players with Super Kings. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 0.25 crores. Super Kings. Yeah. So everyone have taken 11 place, I guess. Is any team missing? So how many number of plays do you have? 12. 14. 14, 11, 15. So which means Royal cannot participate in this. Not anymore. So next is Sandeep K. For 0.25 crores. Super Kings is 0.25 crores. 0.5. 0.5 for Knight Riders. First call, the player is with Knight Riders for 0.5. Second call, 0.75 with Super Kings. 1 with Knight Riders. First call, the player is with Knight Riders for 1 crore. Second call, the player is with Knight Riders for 1 crore. And the player is sold to KKR for 1.5. 1.25, 1.5. 1.5 with KKR. So first call, the player is with KKR for 1.5 crores. Second call, the player is with KKR for 1.5 crores. And the player is sold to KKR for 1.5. Tamarikan. Shall you open the bid for 0.25 crores? First call. KKR, do you guys wanna? KKR. KKR, do you guys wanna bid or what? Bat lifting, bid. This is my first call. Second, charges with base price of 0.25. This is my first call. This is my second call. The player is with charger for 0.25, and the player is sold to charges for 0.25 crore. Okay, so now royals and charges cannot bid because their maximum is like 15. So. Super Kings, you have 11 players. You have 14 players. And you guys? 13. Good. Next is Kannan GJ. Opening price of 0.25. No bids. My first call. My second call, and the player is Knight Riders with the base price of 0.25. My first call. My second call, and the player is with KKR for 0.25. And the player is sold to KKR for 0.25 crores. Next is Sudarshan. 0.25 crore. Any bids? It's my first call, second call, and the player is 0.25 with Super Kings. This is my first call, the player is with Super Kings for 0.25. Second call, the player is with Super Kings for 0.25. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 0.25 crores. Next is Rishwan GL. Shall you open the bidding for 0.25 crore? My first call, KKR with 0.25, Super Kings with 0.5, 7.5 with KKR. One with Super Kings, one with Super Kings, one. It's my first call, the players with Super Kings for 1. Second call, the players with Super Kings for 1 crore. And the player is sold to Super Kings for 1 crore. Next is Varadarajan. Varadarajan. Next is Varadarajan. Any bids for 0.25 crore? KKR with 0.25. KKR with 0.25. This is my first call. The players with KKR for 0.25. Second call that the players with KKR for 0.25. And the player is sold to KKR for 0.25. Hari Prakash. Wait, before that, 11 players, 12, 14, KKR. How many players? 15. So KKR is only 2 bidders this time. Okay. Hari Prakash, 13 players. 30. Okay. 30 and 14. Hari Prakash for 0.25. First call, second call, and the player is Unsold. Akshat Shankar. It's my first call, second call, and the Akshat Shankar. Vidur. Next is Akshat Shankar for base price of 0.25. Any bids? First call, second call, bids over. Guys, before proceeding with, you guys can tell any 2 plays that you guys want to bid and any 1 play you guys want to bid. So we'll go according. Or 2 each. 2 each. Any 2 plays you guys want. In all that. Fine. We'll go. Only 5 players, so we'll proceed with it. So first is Unsold. We'll proceed with it. Next is Jayante, 0.25. It's my first call. Second call. Sorry. Fine. 0.25 with Class Super Kings. 0.25 with Class Super Kings. My first call. Second call. And the player is sold to Super Kings. Varshit. Okay, so 0.25. I mean, both the team have to get, if you want, you get 1 each. So Varshit, any bits? Nope. My first call, second call, and the player is Unsold. Shaktivel. This is my first call, second call, and the player is Unsold. Kishore Kumar. So there are only 2 players now. You guys want? This can bid if you guys want to be. Okay, this is my first call, second call, and the player is Titans with 0.25. This is my first call, second call, the player is to Titans was 0.25. Okay, now we have only 1 player, Deepak Raj. If you guys want a bid, you can bid. The player is sold to Super Kings. Okay, well done, guys. With this team, you will be playing a real-life match. You guys know about it, right? So this is your team. Make sure that okay, before that, guys, before trading window is open, we'll confirm the player list. I will come to the trading windows. I'll go talk with them.
Okay, guys, I just confirm the final team list, okay? Starting with Class Titans, Raghuvandan, Arshad, Rudresh, Manoj, Vissam, Vaibhav, Anthony Raj, Sanjay Mohan Raj, Rohit Ishwar, Nadine, Kevin, Sudarshan, Kanishk, Akshay, Kishore. Done? Okay. Class Chargers, Nidarshan, Mati Pugalendi, Rajendra Cholan, Ran Chalapa, Darun Prashant, Shrikant, Darshan, Nitin, Samir, Arun Kumar, Varun, Kaushik, Siddheshwar, Shaktivel, and Tamarikanan. Class Night Riders, Pradeepan, Sri Harish, Akash, Manish Karaj, Aditya CS, Sutrij Arjun, Vishal, Bhavyansh, Sri Nikhil, Binesh, Vishwa, Hari Krishan, Sandeep Kannan, and Varun Darajan. Class Royals, Manoj Kumar, Pradeep Kumar, Revant Kumar, Ranji Kumaran, Abhilash, Nikash, Pranesh, Prasant, Balasurya, Gagandaran, Atish Seshan, Ragul Nath, Vidur, Gokul Priyan, Manoj and Jagan. Correct? Lastly, Class Super Kings, Devanbu, Tanish, Naren, Surendra, Aditya, Kaleshwaran, Manimaran, Rexa, Sitranjan, Guhanvel, Dharanian, Sudarshan, Rishwant, Jayant and Deepak. All the best, guys. Thank you.